Good evening. You're watching the Cheese Room podcast with myself, the caller, and three other hosts in the Cheese Room tonight. I'm joined by lots of people that could all sit in this top left-hand box. So an illustrious cast. Thanks for watching. 30 of you already are here. Only 30 seconds in, so that's brilliant. Let's hope it keeps going up like that during the show. It will, if you hit the like button. So please do smash the like button, blow it up, hit the subscribe, get the super chats in, become a channel member while you're here as well. It's great comedic value. John, how are you? New background by the looks.
Yeah, Daniel Markin did me a solid and took a nice photo on Saturday, so I thought I'd put it up there. This is weird. I haven't been a guest for ages. I'm normally just covering you when you want a night off on the beer or something.
I wish he was on a beer. It's been like beaten up by my 7-month-old daughter normally. That lack of sleep is the reason I'm tardy. But, hey, I'm here most of the time. There you go. Matt, how are you? The Gibbo.
Yeah, sound, mate. Sound. Always happy to be talking Spurs, mate. So, been a busy day. Yeah. Not been in long, so ready to rock and roll, mate.
For me?
Go on.
Well, you got a bit of a West Country accent, right?
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not fake? Because I'm reliably informed you might be a football coach as well.
That's a terrible likeness. I don't know where he gets that from. That's Tavo. That is rubbish, isn't it?
It is
nothing like Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Let us know in the chat while you're smashing the like button. Let us know in the chat. Drop us a comment, and if you're watching this on catch up, leave a comment in the box, and we will get back to you with the best ones. Do you think these two are related or the same person?
Ralph will be absolutely gutted.
People think he looks.
Yeah.
Just a poor man's Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Yeah. Who's that bloke?
Well, there you go. It is good to see it. And Kerry's got you back. Look, nothing like. There you go.
Ralph probably a better manager.
Ralph hasn't got a quaff like that.
Nah.
I bet Ralph doesn't drink Scrumpy Jack, does he? What you Scrumpy?
He should do.
One of those glass bottles, with the glass handle.
Yeah, old Rosie, that is. Old Rosie.
Old Rosie. Becky, bring some order to the chaos. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I am finally no longer hungover. It did feel like it was going to continue into Monday, but it didn't. I'm great, thank you. Had a great weekend. Child-free, which meant it was absolute carnage.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was such fun, and yeah, I had to write the what happened down because I was so drunk in the second half. I don't really remember the second half, so I had to watch it and then make notes.
That is prepared. I was at work.
Oh, what would have been the best?
This was yesterday.
Been escorted from your seat.
Yeah, Becky, how much alcohol does it take to get you drunk? Then, I mean, is this an all-day session? What time did you hit it?
Okay, so we left Chester at 8 o'clock. Got to Edmonton about 12:30, wandered in, went to the Bricklayers. It was absolutely heaving, so sacked that off. Went to the South Stand. Again, still no drinks because it was far too many queues. So we went inside because you can go inside and come out again. And then I think started drinking about 1:30 and stopped about 11:30.
Yeah.
And I went to get a beer at halftime and I missed Højbjerg's goal.
Oh, this is what happens, you see. HG's in their first school day hangover, Becky. How is work? Now you're doing some, is it,
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. It was actually quite nice to have the kids back, I must admit. But yeah, there's a lot of traffic on the road and people in the wrong places and lots of lost children and parents and things. But yeah, no, it's great. Well, I was teaching this afternoon. The kids are just ace and it's lovely seeing them back. And yeah.
It's lovely them being back, isn't it, John? Gibbo, you're nodding. Yeah, happy. Freedom.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my 13-year-old goes back tomorrow, but yeah, we just had dramas because just nothing's ready. It's typical. But yeah,
I'm actually 2 weeks away from my Butlins trip to Bognor Regis, John. So coming at you soon.
Oh, okay, cool.
I booked the Mr. Tumble Entertainment today. I just can't wait.
Avo must be really excited.
He's in the chat, so I expect some.
So he's live stream it for him. You could WhatsApp call him, couldn't you?
I'll be sending him pictures, that's for sure. Mr. Tumbles is hero. He's an icon. As I said before, please do hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit us up with some super chats. But first of all, we need to wish Tottenham Hotspur a happy 140th birthday. Established the 5th of September 1882. Dave was there to see it. It's a shame he's not on the show tonight, but maybe he can, some anecdotes in the chat as he is there. It's what a club, what history. And I see we changed our Twitter badge to the original founding Tottenham Hotspur emblem. What do you think about that, Gibbo?
Lovely, isn't it? 140 years, still going strong.
Becky, we've had some. You're frantically pointing at something.
At my T-shirt, it looks like the same thing. Look, can't see very well. Look.
Okay, there you go. What kit's that then?
The first one at Wembley, first season at Wembley kit.
Is that proper away kit? Yeah, navy blue, isn't it?
Yeah, the blue one. Yeah,
17-18.
Yeah, it's nice, that one. Proper nice. There you go. He was sweeping a chimney. I mean, you could do better than that, Dave. I'll be honest. You could do better than that. Let's talk about the game. Yeah, he's not had his coffee yet. Let's talk about the lineup then. John furnished me with the lineup. There we go. So we've got some changes. Nice. Lots of changes, haven't we? Did you do this graphic? It's very nice, John.
I did. It took me ages.
Wow, nice. Look at that. No, did you think we don't need a keeper? So I'm not putting.
I couldn't fit him on. I ran out of room.
You can stick
it wasn't going to quite work.
Narrow and Dyer or something, yeah.
He wasn't needed first half.
Nah,
he wasn't needed. You're right, Gibbo. So changes afoot then. Obviously, Longley coming in. Sessegnon, return of the Sess. Bentancur back in the starting 11, and a first start for Richarlison. Interesting. Richarlison's debut, home debut, full debut. Then, John, what do you make of that then?
I thought he was really good. He brought fresh energy. I think it's good for Kulusevski to have a break. His link-up play with Kane and Son, although wasn't quite on the money, you could tell there's something there. They had 2 or 3 times they linked, and they couldn't, a couple times it didn't come off. But he's just his energy. He just runs. He's a real pest, isn't he? You reminded me of likes of, I don't know, a bit like Vardy or even players like Paul Dickoff, but is better.
And he
just runs forever?
Is he shorter than Kane and Son, or is it just your graphic?
I think he is shorter. I think it's the graphic, though, because I had to resize all those pictures individually, which is quite hard to do on my phone.
Bless you. We need to buy you a cheese room computer. If you'd like to buy John a cheese room computer, feel free to put a super chat in. Becky, in the stadium, buzzing then. Were you happy with that lineup?
Yeah, so as I was saying before, by the time we got into the ground and I had like a second to look at my phone, and then all of a sudden it was 2:00. And then I think John had tweeted to say Sonny plays something like, and I was like, oh, Sonny's playing, and I got like really excited, and then had to kind of focus and see who had been, replaced, and it was Kulusevski. But I agree. Richarlison was just on it from minute one. He was just so enthusiastic and everywhere and tracking back, getting the ball back, being awkward and being annoying and all those sort of things that, we sort of said we didn't like him when he's playing against us. It was just, it kind of, Spurs started very well. It was like right from the off, and Richarlison was part of that. I thought Sessegnon played very, very well as well. When I was watching it back yesterday, I'd forgotten how much it came from the left-hand side. So I think because, obviously Perisic had come in and played so well, and there was assists and things from Perisic, I thought Sessegnon really took his opportunity really well as well, which was nice. Yeah,
it's an interesting one with Sess. Gibbo, Sessegnon or Perisic Wednesday night, what do you think?
Perisic will play Wednesday, I think. I thought Sessegnon did well. I thought he got better as the game went on, to be fair. I think he's a big confidence player, isn't he? Started getting a bit of joy and getting into decent areas, and the more he does that, I think the more he's likely to keep doing that. But he did really well. Like the Kane goal was literally because he kept going, and he just like made it happen. Got the ball into, made the run, had the shot, and it bounced up, but he kept going and he got it across and he made it happen. Fair play to him, because that's what he needs to do. The guy we've got on loan from who's back at Udinese looks like he's going to be a player. So, it's a big season for Cesc. He's got Perisic there. So he sort of needs to make it happen for himself this season. And fair play to him. He put in a good shift. And it's one of the better games he's probably had for Spurs.
And yeah, you're quite right. Destiny setting Serie A on fire at the moment, isn't he? So it's looking bright down the left right now, Spurs, and maintaining that theme down the left. Longley in at left centre back, John. It's a bit of a shame we haven't got Davo on here, who described him as nothing very good, nothing very positive. But what did you think of his debut?
Well, I tweeted quite early on that he really reminded me of Vertonghen. The way he glides, the way he passes, he rolls the ball under his foot. He had that much better, he gave us a new impetus, didn't he, going forward? And obviously having Romero back, who is, as well as Sanchez has defended, Romero is so superior with the ball and drives us forward as a whole team.
Yeah.
Just both of them. Davis has done a good job, but you could tell that Longley's just got that little bit more class on the ball, I think. Defensively, he wasn't really tested. He did win a few headers, I think, didn't he? And time will tell. But on the ball, brilliant. Happy with the move.
If you compare it to Wednesday, playing out from the back was just completely different. So like on Wednesday, that's where all the pressure came, wasn't it? And you just thought Sanchez was going to make a mistake. And then, the kind of the way that Longley kind of controlled it, he was very calm, he was very assured. Like you said, Romero was then further up the pitch. It just, you didn't worry. Although Fulham didn't do much, you didn't kind of worry that there was going to be this kind of bombard like there was at the West Ham game. So it was, he was just very calm. You'd think wouldn't think it was his, kind of first debut really, because he just looked very assured and confident and relaxed, and that kind of helped Bentancur and Højbjerg as well by having that kind of relaxed presence behind, and it was all just kind of filtering through really. Very different to Wednesday.
Longley, Gibbo, you're a straight shooter.
Yeah.
Upgrade on Daddy Davis?
It's only one game, but on the ball, looks that way. And that's no slight on Ben Davis, because Ben Davis has been fantastic. But I said, from the bits I'd seen of him before, he did look comfortable on the ball. That's the thing you could take from watching clips and little bits of him, that he was comfortable on the ball. And the fact that him and Romero, Dyer's decent on the ball, but the fact that him and Romero are better on the ball probably allows us to play a little bit higher up the pitch, because they can bring the ball out and you can pass them, and they can get involved a little bit more with the midfield, because they're better. And I think that helped as well. I know it was, it's a different team playing Fulham at home to West Ham away. But yeah, because that's how we play, isn't it? We try and keep hold of the ball and try and keep possession and suck teams in and then sort of hit them on the break. But I thought he looked decent. There'll be stiffer tests to come, but very good debut. And I got a feeling he'll play against Marseille as well.
Do you think so? I just think with Longley, I'm quite pleased and vindicated, I think, in supporting him. And a lot of people will be, because the problem, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent. The problem with Twitter and social media, every idiot's got a voice and every idiot thinks they're right. And what you see is people jumping on the back of opinions of people that don't know anything about it whatsoever.
And you said, mate, you said, didn't you, that he's the top man, he's better than Davis?
I just said he's better. He's a gifted player. Look, the fact that Barcelona paid £35 million from Sevilla tells you that he's a gifted footballer, because they don't sign shit, regardless of how it turns out. They don't sign
Paulinho.
Did all right for them. But he's a footballing centre back. That's the truth. Ben Davis is a more down and dirty. He'll get stuck in. He's a very good player. But Longley is a better footballer. I've always said that, and I do think that I do think that long term he will probably take that position. But
we want him in Davis. We want him in Davis fighting for that position, don't we? Trying to bring the best out of each other.
We've got to rotate, Gibbo. We've got so many matches.
And Saturday was a promising start, so let's hope it goes from there.
I'm just thankful with Davis that I don't ever get to see him at left wing back again, really.
I think them days are gone, mate.
That's definitely a positive.
I think, Becky, with your comment, the difference really was, apart from Sanchez, Karen makes a good point. Fulham didn't have the energy West Ham had. There wasn't the pressing. So,
well, it wasn't their cup final, John. So
there is that, absolutely, yeah. But obviously, with those two guys at centre back, we were vastly superior with the ball anyway. I'd be much more comfortable at West Ham with Longley and Romero playing.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, we scored almost straight away, but disallowed VAR. Kane. It was Sonny's goal, wasn't it? Kane did he get a flick on it?
I don't think he touched it, but he was right in front of the keeper, so it was probably a right decision to say he was interfering because it went just over his head, I think, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think it did.
It was much like the goals on the first game of the season, wasn't it? Remember when the balls were coming from that side and kind of sending them in, almost like set piece like, but it wasn't a set piece, and then Kane just sort of.
We took 4, 5, 6 corners, and they were all short corners. It was Sonny to Cess, and they just didn't switch onto it. And we kept it. It was clearly a tactic from our new set piece coach because we kept doing it. And Son is so much better when he gets that angle. We saw it against Ben Davies scored against Newcastle last season. Dyer scored that goal in that opening game of the season. When he whips it in from that, 5-10 yards away from the byline, his balls are really dangerous. And
the fact that there's so many players then sort of getting in the way, it just got to take an awkward bounce or an awkward knock, hasn't it? And it creates something. So like you said, it's definitely a tactic.
Yeah, Marseille be quaking. Yeah. Excuse me. And then obviously we scored. Højbjerg. What? Who'd have thought it? I'm going to let Gibbo wax lyrical here because this is the chat. I've had my moment to say I'm right. 100 people watching, by the way. So smash the like button if you want to hear Gibbo tell us all about his Højbjerg man crush.
Well, it's not a man crush, mate. It's just fact that he will play more than any other midfielder. He's like the general on the park, mate. I mean, he was better having Bentancur with him, no doubt. But, he got the ball, and it was a really good goal. It was a really good finish. And he's picked it up, he's laid it in, he's moved on. I thought he had a decent game, mate. He is a better player than people give him credit for. I think he was the one who lofted that ball over to Richarlison and Richarlison sort of just couldn't get his shot off, could he? He's a better player than people give him credit for. And he did. There was a little interview he did on with I don't know who the blokes are, but it was like on the Spurs TV after, mate. And he just, he's just a top bloke. All right, he's the best midfielder we got, mate. I love him. Brilliant player.
Bentancur needs to mention there, though, doesn't he?
Absolutely. But Bentancur doesn't get the pouters that Højbjerg does.
No, he doesn't. I thought because the thing yesterday was the first time I saw that goal. It was very, very quick feet, wasn't it? So Sonny was like involved in the build-up, and he kind of flicked it to Richarlison, and you could see Kane was bombing forward, and it was just very kind of like, I think someone put on commentary yesterday, like tiptoed their way through. It was a really good finish. And it was a great time to score, even though I didn't see it.
He's for us. Liverpool just have ratters in the middle of midfield who get around and sort of break up play and give the ball to the people who do all the silky stuff, and that's what he does for us. That's his job, and he does it well.
He plays better when he's got better players behind him. I think it's no coincidence that when Romero's playing, and like we said about Longley, he's better. And like I said, Bentancur was very, very good again, very assured.
Because he does have limitations.
That's not a slight on Bissouma.
See why Real Madrid was sniffing around him, don't you?
Hey, mate, like I said, and I'll be proved right, come the end of the season, more goals, more assists, more minutes on the pitch.
I'm not sure. I
bet you Bentancur will struggle to get 2 goals all season.
It's a bit like,
and he's a quality player, Bentancur. He was man of the match.
It's a bit like people getting carried away in the fantasy football after 6, game weeks. Gibbo. I see it all the time. I see it all the time. Yeah, just because he's got a couple of goals doesn't mean he's going to set the world on fire.
Nothing to do with the goals, mate. He's a decent player, Højbjerg. He is a very, very important player for Spurs.
Gibbo, you just said he's going to get more goals and assists this season than any other midfielder.
Yeah.
Right.
In our team,
Goals, then, isn't it?
Well, I mean, like what I'm saying about him being a good player is not just about the 2 goals he scored this season. I'm talking about everything he does, and I think he's probably been our most consistent performer this season because Kane's got the goals, but he's not played brilliantly. He scored the goals and he does what he does. Son's not been. Kane's amazing, but I think Højbjerg is one of the most important players in the team for what he does.
I thought about that about Ollie Skip till he got injured. You know, our record with him last season was much better than with him out the team. But there you go.
Skip's not near him yet, mate.
Oh, I think that's harsh.
No, Skip's good as well, but
Skip's got to stay fit and have a run of games. That's the problem.
I agree with that. Bissouma's
What's lovely though is listening to you boys is you're all arguing over which midfielder is the best, and isn't it lovely that we can have this argument where we actually have this strength in depth to go, no, he's better than him, and he's better than him, and he's better than him, rather than usually going, nope, we've got those 2, and when they're injured, we are stuffed.
But none of them are crap, are they? We're just you know.
They've all got qualities. They've got qualities over other players, haven't they? They've all got different, like people putting in there about Bissouma. Bissouma's very powerful, isn't he? And very strong, and he does shoot. Bentancur didn't score many for Juventus either, so they've got different qualities.
I think Daniel's talking about Alf-Inge Haaland.
Yeah,
his dad.
Højbjerg ain't finished. I'll lay some money down with you, Gibbo.
What's that? That he won't score more goals than any of our other midfielders?
Yep.
Do you count Sonny as a midfielder though?
No,
this whole thing. No.
We're counting Skip, Bissouma, and Bentancur.
Hang on,
not Kulusevski and Son.
Not Kulusevski and Son.
They're wide attackers, mate.
They said they're midfielders on Fantasy League. I've had this conversation with Jack a lot. Like Salah.
They're wide forwards.
Well, we'll see. I think he'll play lots. I agree, but I also agree with David Harris's comment. His best work is waving his arms around on the tarmac at Copenhagen Airport. He does love an arm wave, doesn't he?
He does.
That's Dave being kind to him.
Well, that was the problem. On Wednesday, he was too busy waving his arms at the ref while Souček ran into the box and Bissouma was half asleep.
Yeah,
and sorting out his boots.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a nicely taken goal, wasn't it?
Lovely finish.
I'm going to ask Becky because she didn't see it. It's a lovely taken goal, isn't it? Look, I suffer with I get beaten up about the Leicester thing.
I know it is the first time it ever happened, and that's why I tweeted it because I knew this would happen, and I thought I'd bring it up. I genuinely have never done it. And someone put in the chat, and you were like, "Oh, I didn't see Becky as someone who'd leave on 40 minutes." I literally watched the corner. It went out for a corner, and I went, "Right, well, I'll go. I won't be long." And then there was 7 minutes of injury time because Fulham were on the floor for most of the first half. I think I drank half the pint waiting for Joe because Joe waited until half time until she came to the
TVs there, haven't they? So
yeah, but it's weird though because it's delayed, so you knew that nothing was happening because you would hear it before you would see it on screen, and that's really strange. So yeah, I would have preferred to be in the bowl, but yeah, it was my turn to get a drink.
Well. Supping a beer whilst Højbjerg does the biz. What more could you ask for? But you got to say Richarlison was instrumental in that goal, wasn't he, John? And he you know.
Sorry, I've just seen this comment. This must be related to Becky somehow.
Yeah, exactly. The work done by Richarlison, you know, off the ball and on the ball in that build up to that goal was superb, wasn't it?
I think we actually have to give some credit to the much maligned Emerson Royale who won the ball back, and it was Richarlison and Royale really chasing down as a pack to get the ball back, and then it came to Højbjerg, and then he drove in and gave it to Richarlison, who just held on to it and squared it to him nicely, and good interplay. It reminded me a bit of the goal we scored. I think Bergwijn scored against West Ham in the Cup last season, where we just managed to get into that right hand side of the box and a low cross shot, basically. But yeah, really promising signs from Richarlison as far as I'm concerned.
Still no sign of the doc, is there?
No, that's...
He was going to come on a sub, I think, wasn't he? Like a late sub, and then they didn't do it, did they?
Bit disappointed with that. I mean, Emerson, obviously, I get behind whoever's at right back, but I do think Doherty would give us a much better out ball than Emerson. But there you go. Maybe Conte is determined to make him into a player, and that's what it is. 7 minutes of injury time, as you said. 1-0 at half time. Do you think that was a big half for the season? Sorry, Becky, go on.
Sorry, just going back a little bit, we forgot about when Son hit the bar and that kind of lovely flick over from Kane, because Longley kind of passed it, didn't he, to Kane?
It was a beautiful flick. How did Son miss?
I don't know. It just from where we were in the South Stand, it just felt easier to score than to miss. And I know when you watch it back, he's kind of stretching, isn't he? And he's sort of stretching, and it like loops over. But yeah.
His touch of his chest was too heavy. That was the problem. It ran away from him.
Yeah,
he didn't have He didn't have too much room. To be fair,
in answer to your question, I thought it was a really strong half. There was lots of chances. It was kind of continual. Apart from Fulham sort of being injured a lot and slowing the game down, I don't remember there being that much. I think it was all of the saves were in the second half, weren't they? Yeah. So it was a good. I feel so
sorry for Son. He's probably getting beaten like Zuma's cat by his dad at the moment. He's just not hitting the back of the net at all, is he?
There was a lot of love for him in the stadium. Every time he took a corner, everybody was clapping. They were singing his name. They were trying to make a real effort to sort of. And he was responding to it and clapping
going
back.
hard on him though when he doesn't perform. I tell you, he'd be getting.
He's desperate to score, isn't he? Probably too desperate. I think it was in our WhatsApp group. I think like HG said. He's just so you can tell how desperate he is to score. And if he probably maybe just relaxes a little bit more in those situations or at certain times, probably help him. But he's just, the crowd are desperate for him to score. He's desperate to score. It's just.
He looked happier, I thought. He looked happier on Saturday than he looked in the other games. His demeanour was better.
Better, yeah.
He loves a goal against City, doesn't he? Sonny. So I'm thinking this could be the one. Yeah.
And mate, to be fair, I said he should be rested, not dropped. I don't want to say dropped about any of our players really. Rested. But fair play to Conte. Keeps plugging away with him and hopefully he'll repay him. He was better. Be interesting to see if he plays the City game and the Marseille game, but he was a lot better and he didn't seem to be sulking as much. Like in the other games, it was as if like things weren't coming off for him, and he was sort of like, why is it not happening for me? He sort of got his head down and got on with it, and he was unlucky not to score, really, wasn't he, Saturday?
I don't think anyone should be too worried about Son.
Mate.
He's going to absolutely come good as soon as he gets one.
Yeah.
That's why it was quite reassuring when I saw the lineup to see that he was playing Richarlison, Son and Kane, because we all seem to just discuss it. It's always going to be Richarlison and Son and Richarlison and Son, because that's how we'd substituted them so far. To actually, as John said, kind of use Kulusevski, and then in the second half, when Kane went off, Richarlison played up front. So it was even within the game, Richarlison played in two positions during that match.
I mean, Kulu hasn't really played well last couple of games either. So it was fair enough really to put him in for him. I'm not worried about Sonny. It will absolutely come good at Manchester City, I'm sure. So, John, did you think that was our best half of the season?
Well, we had a big discussion on Friday about it, and about what was the West Ham, whether that was our best first half or best half. But I think this Saturday was definitely our best half of the season, even better than the second against Southampton. We looked better. Definitely, HG said something to me that we definitely play better against back fours than back fives. So, and that's true. We definitely do. We're going to come to Marseille.
When teams match up, it's fairly obvious that one, to be honest. When teams match up against us, it's harder, isn't it?
It is, but then we've got better players than most of these teams. So, it should a lot of the time. But we'll see. Hopefully, it rings true on Saturday.
Well, let's hope so. And before that, we've got Wednesday night. But let's just talk about the second half briefly. Cess had a shot saved. Gibbo, are you on the Cess train now?
I think Cess is a decent player, mate. I don't think he's amazing. I think he did get better. It's like people said, it's a massive season for him. I like him. He's a good player. I'm not going to go over the top. There's still lots of room for improvement, but that was, like I said, one of his better games. But would I rather still have Perisic in the team? Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I
We starting
would
to find out what our preferred 11, what your top 11 is. Are you starting to figure that out now? We're a few games in.
Yeah, obviously 4-string goal. No, but I mean, we'll go on to it later. But obviously, Lloris is fantastic. But the thing with Langley and Davis, if you watch that, you'd say if you watch that game on Saturday, you'd say Langley, wouldn't you? But it's hard to knock Davis because he's been so consistent over the past year. But you look at Romero and Dyer are two definites, aren't they? Whether you like it or not, it looks like Emerson is the first choice right wing back and will be. Højbjerg and Bentancur for me in the middle. And Conte's even said that they're both in front of Basuma. Perisic on the left. And then the front three, Kane, Son. And then I'd probably say if we're going to play our best 11, and people won't like this, but I would probably say Kulusevski. But
ooh, that's an interesting take.
Mate, he is a quality player.
Well, so's Richarlison.
Yeah, but I don't. That's if I was picking every player at the top of their form and picking our best 11. That's probably where I'd go.
This comment's right, because every time Richarlison has come on, there's been a change, hasn't there, in the kind of, like you said, the tempo or the attitude or even the positioning of Kane. So like I said on Saturday, he started it on the right wing, was really busy down there, put some nice crosses in. I can remember one came went through Son and then Cess hit it, I think, and then obviously when Kane went off, he went up front and that's when he scored. I tweeted straight after that it was 4-1. I celebrated 4 goals. I know one of them I was inside the bowl thing, but I celebrated 4 goals on Saturday, and because you don't see any replays, I celebrated 4 goals that seemed genuine goals to me from where I was. But and his, when the cross that came over, he was up front, and it was a tap in. But they're the type of goals that Kane's been scoring lately. So it was nice to have that kind of, like I said before, about the options that we've got. When you think about Sessegnon, the way he runs down the wing is different to Perisic. Perisic takes it to the byline and crosses it over. Cess tends to sort of cut in, sometimes takes the man on, sometimes shoot. So even Perisic and Sessegnon play differently, and they're in the same position.
I think no doubts that Richarlison does add energy, but I think Kulusevski I think he's a better footballer. But yeah, he does add energy, but it's different dynamics. Probably different games are going to call for different types of players. But I think he's really good, Richarlison. And I wasn't, when we first signed him, I wasn't sort of over the top about it. I didn't really like him, but he's proved to me that he's a better player than I thought he was. But there's still some little bits I'm not sure as if he's as good a player. And this sounds bad. I don't even know how to say it right. But he is good, and we're desperate.
I don't know how you're going down this route.
I don't. But I don't think everybody playing right. He's not first 11 for me. When at the full thing, I think Kulusevski, Kane, and Son are the best front three. But that you asked me for my opinion, and that's it.
Well, life's like everyone's got an opinion.
We've all got different opinions.
That's what makes the world go round. But back to the second half. Kane's goal, 75 minutes. Pretty straightforward, this one, wasn't it, Becky? Did you see this one?
Yes, it did. And I was in the south stand, so I had a really good view of this one. Yeah, it's like you said before, it was Cess, wasn't it? It was a scrum from the left. Like I said, I forgot at the time how much came from that side. And there was a handball in there, wasn't there? So it was this whole kind of, I think I do, looking back at it yesterday, bearing in mind all the dodgy VAR decisions that have gone on this weekend, we wouldn't have been surprised for them to not give the goal, because it was this whole kind of, he was behind the ball first, but I think because it was a handball in the build up, it was a really good finish, and like you said, Cess kept going, and then it came back, and Kane, and then just had to tap it in, didn't it? It was
kept going. Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously, as you rightly say, Kulik came on for Kane, Richie central. What about you talk about skill level, Gibbo, and Richarlison maybe not being as skillful a player. That flying volley was immense.
Yeah, it was a good volley.
What's the skill level on that? That's like
It's
playing
good,
FIFA on cheat mode, man.
I didn't say it's more skillful. I just said a better footballer.
Yeah,
Better footballing brain, better just bits and pieces. It was a great volley, that was. Yeah, it was a brilliant volley. Well, mate, he needs a goal. This guy, he's got to get a goal because you see these players sometimes and it doesn't happen. The longer it goes, well, he's got to get one. We don't want it to go on much longer. He needs to get one. Just
he's a good player. And Richie misfiring, can you? Sorry, Becky.
No.
The thing that was disappointing though about that goal is that it was a great shot, and everybody wanted it to go in. And then Spurs sort of lost the ball, didn't they? And Højbjerg sort of sat on it, and then Fulham scored straight away from that, and Romero just didn't track back.
That was weak.
Well, I've got to say that's the worst bit of defending I've seen from Romero. In his time,
it was.
He didn't even
lazy.
Run. He just sort of sauntered back, didn't he? Yeah.
He looked a bit
like the goal.
Do you think he was
Brighton scored? Probably. Yeah, but you know the goal that Trossard scored last season? He absolutely did him then, didn't he? It seems if a player just does a quick change of direction, Romero isn't always on it.
Well, he just gave up. He just appeared to he walked.
Because it wasn't even that quick, was it, John? He sort of just shifted his body, and it's like he dangled his leg, didn't he, Romero? He sort of dangled.
It was like Kane's goal at Rangers, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very similar.
Great finish. Great, fantastic finish. But I thought that was lazy and weak from Romero, defending wise.
I agree, and I'm a massive Romero fan.
Yeah, great player, but that was
really shit.
And
he
it
has
meant
to do better.
To some extent, we're kind of hanging on towards the end because then there was that other chance afterwards that Mitrovic had, wasn't there? He was like the only kind of
this
threat,
deflected.
Really.
What I would say, I've got a friend. I play five-a-side with. He's also a Spurs fan, and he always says Lloris is the weak link in our team because his distribution's awful, etc., etc., etc. This guy's been a professional footballer, by the way, so he should know what he's talking about. But I texted him straight away. This was a world-class save, wasn't it? Yeah, absolute world-class save. You can't. Hugo's a legend. Spurs legend.
The two saves he had to make were deflected, weren't they? There was the Longley one, and then there was the Romero one, and they were looping kind of, and like I said, we were sort of hanging on at the end when we really shouldn't have been. And Kane said that he tweeted afterwards, didn't he, to say that we really should have put it to bed. Obviously, the Richarlison one hit the post, and to literally go down the other end, and there was Sessegnon's chance. We had 23 chances on Saturday, and 10 of them were on target, and also you had the 11, which was Sonny in the bar. So we were very comfortable. It shouldn't have got to that point. A little bit of lazy defending. Everyone switches off, much like switching off at West Ham. And then we've got Lloris who did sort of save it for us in the end.
As is often the way, and as I always stick up for Hugo, he's a world-class keeper. World-class keeper. Richarlison then made it 3-1. Only he didn't. But he got a booking for the celebration.
Which I videoed that as well. I videoed the celebration.
You just want to see him with his shirt off, didn't you, Becky? He's got an interesting...
With his vest. You've seen his vest tan line. You've seen that? He's got a vest tan line. So because he trains in his vest, he trains in his vest. His vest tan line, he's got like a golfer's tan, so his arms are darker than his body.
Oh, because they all wear these GPS vests, don't they, for training?
That's right.
Yeah.
We do them on I was thinking about rocking up in one of them on a Tuesday night.
I thought he deserved it, like we said, because of he played so well, and Match of the Day picked up, didn't they, how awkward he was and what he was involved in. But the thing is as well, I've watched it, I think, from 3 different broadcasters, and not one of them say, "Oh, it's offside, it won't be given." They all go, "Yeah, Richarlison has got his first goal for Spurs. This is 3 points. Off he goes, shirts off." And then all of a sudden they go, "Oh, it might be offside." No one thinks it looks offside live. He did go too early, but if he just timed his run a little bit more, it was just the perfect sort of goal to have right in front of himself.
Cess was offside. It was played to Cess. So Richarlison was a bit irrelevant because he was offside, but the ball went to Cess. Yeah. And obviously Cess crossed it. He wasn't offside at that point. But
who split the defence with the pass to Sessegnon, John?
I can't remember now. Was it that?
Are you going to say Højbjerg?
Yeah.
I could see that a mile off, John. Come on.
Was it? That was a very Harry Winks-esque pass.
It's a very straightforward pass. But let's not forget about when he sat on the ball and conceded the goal for Fulham.
Was he flapping his boot at that point?
He was
he was waving a plane in, mate.
Gave the ball away. Yeah. Fulham scored, and then he waved his arms around like Team America World Police, blaming everybody.
Yeah.
But there you go. Man of the match. I believe it was given to Richarlison on the Spurs app, but
I thought it was Bentancur.
Bentancur by a mile.
Was it Bentancur or was it?
No, it was Richarlison, but I thought it should have been Bentancur. Yeah.
Did you vote?
No, because I haven't got Spurs play. Is it on the app? I might have deleted the app. Yeah.
What?
There's too many pop-ups. There's no head. You go into it and all this stuff comes out. I was like, oh, don't need
I shouldn't be surprised by this at all. Given
she hasn't got WhatsApp.
Hasn't even got WhatsApp. It's just a disaster.
She's got a Nokia 8210. Really, just play Snake. That's it.
Snake. Yeah, with my double covers on the front and back.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So there you go. I thought no one had a really bad game though, did they? I thought everyone, we've covered it really.
Yeah, can you give a man of the match or player of the match to a defender though? It wasn't really that kind of game. It was about the attackers, I think, and the progressive play. So I like Romero, and like you said, Long played well, but I wouldn't consider him for.
No, and
Bentancur was just a class act, isn't he? When you watch the
way so calm.
Not Højbjerg, no, Gibbo.
Well, he's class act as well, but for different reasons. But Bentancur was just so classy.
Oh, blimey. Do you see that? I've got like a electrical storm. Went all like blue.
Oh. Yeah. As a pairing, Bentancur and Højbjerg, they obviously played so much last season. They're very, very good together. I don't think Fulham got close enough to Bentancur. I think he struggles when teams really swarm on him, and he has got a bit of ability to move out of that. But he had so much time. And part of that's down to his movement, but they just let him play. And it's a dangerous game.
It's like when he turns in his own box, he'll like step over the ball in his own box and swivel one way and go the other and just play the ball out.
Very relaxed. Yeah, very relaxed.
Very annoying. I'd rather he didn't do that if I'm being really honest. But there you go. Let's talk Champions League. Something Arsenal won't be playing in this season.
Watching Tottenham on a Wednesday night.
Drunk again.
Because you're not very good. Who's going to this one? You there? You're not there, Becky? No,
I'm at school.
John Gibbo?
Nah, not
just me representing the newsroom.
I'm working late.
Lots of tickets free still there, wasn't there? Because he sent the email out, didn't they? So that everyone could have 4 more tickets.
Oh, meeting up with Matty Hayes. Matty Hayes is there. So I'm going to meet up with Matty. So that'd be good. What changes would you make to the lineup then, John? What are your thoughts?
It's interesting because you've got to take into account Saturday against Man City. This will be a tough game. There's no doubt about that. But Saturday,
there's no easy game.
Yeah, it is Champions League. It's a really interesting one. What is the most important game as far as Conte goes? Because we know that he doesn't have a great record 2 games a week, and we know that the league is always his focus. You could play Cesc again, arguably, because he grew in the game on Saturday. So do you play him again? Or Perisic, we know, is just class. Is Perisic likely to play Wednesday, Saturday? Or do you want Ces's legs on Saturday? Because he had a good game at Man City last season, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Really good game. So you could argue, say, we're going to do a lot of running on Saturday. So put Perisic in for this. Maybe play him 60
the amount of subs that we get these days with the modern game.
You get 5.
You could pretty much...
Probably you want to go strong. Anyway. You want to go strong and hope you can get 2 or 3-0 up. I don't think it's going to be that easy. No. But hopefully we can.
They're second in the league, aren't they?
They're unbeaten, aren't they? Yeah. They're unbeaten.
There you go.
I will find the... Is that their form? There you go. There's their form, and they're second in the league. They're on a good run of form. They beat Nice 3-0. Nice are a good team, as we know.
They play 3-4-3 as well, I think. I think they play the same formation as we do.
There you go. So that's from the Nice win when they won 3-0. You see they've got Alexis Sanchez, Dimitri Payet, Guendouzi, Tavares, Klaus, who we were linked with, Kolasinac, And Pau Lopez was at Spurs as a youngster as well. He's been around Europe. Loads of Premier League linked players.
Mm.
So it's going to be an interesting matchup. But
Veretout was at Villa, wasn't he?
He was at Villa. You're right. Yeah. And again, we were linked with him a few years ago.
I mean, it's very early days as well, isn't it? In their league, it is early days. Do you see wholesale changes, Gibbo? What's your thoughts on the starting 11 we'll play?
I think I've got a feeling Langley will play again, and Davis will come back in for the City game. Romero and Dyer will definitely play. Lloris will play. I mean, Emerson has pretty much played every game at right wing back, so it'll be interesting because I think you'd want you'd want Emerson to play at City, wouldn't you? Just because obviously his defensive qualities are his best qualities. So it'd be interesting to see if he starts him, and I can't see him starting Spence. So it may be Doherty, right wing back. I've got a feeling Perisic will play. I think he'll start the same midfield two again. Like I said, Kane and Son, and then it's whatever he chooses to between Richarlison and Kulusevski. But I've got a feeling you can get behind City. So I maybe would start Kulusevski and save Richarlison for City and play Kane and Son with Son and Richarlison for the pace aspect against City to stretch their back, whatever they play at the back to get behind them.
I'd definitely play Perisic against City. And the reason I play Perisic against City, his balls into the box will cause chaos. They're not great at defending balls into the box. We've seen that time and time again. So I'd definitely save Perisic for that one. I would play Sessegnon. What about yourself, Becky? What does your 11 look like against Marseille?
Like we said before, it's so refreshing to have this discussion, and like reading the chat, and there's so many different combinations in the chat as well. I watching the Villa game yesterday for the City game, and I was sort of watching it thinking, how will we play against them? And then I watched the highlights of the 3-2 again. Is this like Gibbo just said? We need to stretch them, and we need to get them speedy, and that's Son, isn't it? But then that's Kulusevski. Is that Sessegnon? Is Sessegnon quicker than Perisic? If they play well on Wednesday, he might argue that he might keep more or less the same structure on Saturday as well. So it's a tricky one. And I agree. I don't think Doherty's going to come back in for a Champions League game. I'm not even sure Basuma will do that. Davis has played in the Champions League games before. Yes, we've got that kind of experience. So he may kind of fall on that side of it as well, because there will be some of the players, will get nervous. Longlay's played in the Champions League already. You've got to kind of balance that side of it. Richarlison's not had that. I know he's played for Brazil and he's played in big games, but he's got to weigh up that side of it as well, because we started so well on Saturday and we don't want to start slowly in Champions League. So he's got to weigh that side of it as well as a kind of, the quality element of it. But yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it. I would personally say it would be Kane, Son and Kulusevski, but equally I can see him doing that for City. So it may be Richarlison on Wednesday. It's just interesting to see.
It's a massive week for us. Massive week. We've got to get off. The thing is, we've got to get off to a good start in the group, because if you start slow and start getting behind, it's a real problem. It can creep upon you really quickly. So
for us to progress, mate, we've got to win our 3 home games, haven't we? And just try and pick a couple of results up away, and that should see us through the group. So in that respect, mate, it is a really big game. If we win that, we've got, because I think Marseille away will be really tricky.
So it's the tone.
Frankfurt away will, I think, as well.
Yeah,
the atmosphere at Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a comment. I can't wait to hear the Champions League music again. I can't wait for that. The Champions League music. It's going to be a hell of a night down there. I just hope I get down there in time, because I'm only able to leave at 4 p.m. So 4 hours to get to London should be plenty, but you never know. Traffic.
Walker was poor at the weekend, though, wasn't he? My friend's a big City fan.
Now, isn't he? He's getting a bit old, Walker.
And my wife's family are all Villa fans, and they said Walker was poor.
Yeah.
But pace-wise...
Going back to Sessegnon as well, we thought he'd done his hamstrings on Saturday in the second half, because he went down and he was kind of holding them, didn't he? If there's any kind of recurrence from that, then that will influence it as well, won't it?
That's why you might play Becchiani, because his injuries, if he's got a slight tightness in his hamstrings, they won't play him because he gets injured so often. So that's why, I can see Perisic starting that game on Wednesday.
Interesting. Walker and Stones out the Champions League game this week. So that'd be interesting.
I mean, look, it's a case of City's going to be a tough game, isn't it? City's going to be a seriously tough game. We're going to preview it Friday, so I'm not going to go too much into it now.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Marseille a bit more, but there's a lot of rotation to take place. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that we've got.
It'll be interesting to see if Basuma comes in on Wednesday or not, because obviously Conte made comments, didn't he, that Højbjerg and Bentancur were the first two after the West Ham game where Basuma switched off, didn't he, for their goal.
Basuma was poor.
How long it takes him to get back in the team. I wouldn't be surprised if Skippy gets 20 minutes off the bench. I don't think he'll be ready to start because obviously he hasn't played any football for a while. So it's got to be those two in midfield again for me.
I'd be tempted to put Basuma in. I have to say, Højbjerg is such a key part of this team that I think you need to rest him and make sure he's at his best for City.
Yeah, we'll need him, mate. We'll need his leadership qualities against City. Directing traffic.
Interesting stat there. Conte's only won 12 from 54 Champions League games. So what you're saying is, Paul, don't get my hopes up of a victory on Wednesday night, right?
This City game, though, I spoke to you, but we said before, didn't we? Like, we beat City the last two times we've played them. We've got a good record against them, but I don't think there's many teams that beat City 3 times on the spin. It's going to be tough. What we have got to do is make sure we go up there. If we can get a point, because we're unbeaten, we're in good form. Winning and not losing becomes a habit, which is what losing can do when you're down at the bottom. So we've just got to keep chibbling away and getting points. So we just got to go up there and be in the best shape. Against City, you've got to look out, haven't you? They'll always make chances. You've got to look out and take your chances. Can we do that 3 times in a row? It will be tough, but it's not impossible. But it is going to be tough. So he's going to want all the players that he's been working with. I think that City game, he will good chance he'll play what he knows, what he trusts.
He will do. But I think he trusts the squad of players generally.
Yeah.
With a couple of exceptions. There's lots of big talking points about it. We've only played 6 times Champions League at the new stadium. Won 3, lost 3. So we beat City 1-0, lost to Ajax 1-0, lost to Bayern 7-2. I did leave early though. Sorry about that.
Don't blame you for that one.
Lost to Red Star. Beat Red Star. 5-0. Beat Olympiacos 4-2 and lost to Leipzig 1-0. I was at that as well. Our own form is patchy in the Champions League.
But that wasn't what those ones there. I know a lot of these are the Ajax year, aren't they? But the Leipzig one, isn't that the one where we had no strikers? Because I remember watching the other leg.
I think we had a lot of injury.
We were in Glasgow, weren't we? And we had no one. I remember, was Son injured then? And obviously Kane was injured. And
I think we had Llorente and Ali up front, didn't we?
Yeah,
and we had
we had to score and we had no strikers.
Yeah, Lamela came off the bench. And Jose said that he claimed he was injured or something, and he came on, and the whole crowd, he seemed to be the only one that was actually up for it that game.
He was always up for it.
Yeah,
being up for it was never Lamela's problem.
He was channeling it the right way.
It was that bad.
The guy run around like he was on crystal meth most of the time.
So a lot of those games that we can remember, that obviously when Kane was injured, but then Sonny, was very impactful in those sort of games. So this is, possibly whether he'll play as well.
Just on this, someone needs to stick one on Haaland. Just to say, our best way of stopping Haaland is to give him some of the rough stuff. His injury record isn't the best, and in all honesty, you can absolutely see Romero taking him out a couple of times, can't you?
Romero,
isn't he?
Hey, Romero will have to stick one on him. Because if he isolates himself against Dyer, we're going to have dramas.
Yeah, I would be tempted to play Longley on that side as well against him because he's bigger than Davis.
Yeah,
as good a defender as Davis is, that would worry me.
I like Dyer, and he's a good player, but he plays well in a 3 because he doesn't really have to mark anyone, and he can just sit behind and sort of sweep up a bit. Haaland goes up against him, mate. Yeah, Haaland goes up against him.
Davis is shit under a press because he's not a great footballer on the ball at his feet. It's the same.
Milk turns quicker than Dyer.
But Dyer just sits in between. So I love Dyer.
But even this season, he's come to win the ball in the middle, and the forwards got in front of him and turned him. Once Dyer's going back to goal that way, he's out of it, mate. So we do not want him being isolated against Haaland.
What I was saying moreover, really, was you want your players who are better at ball retention and bringing the ball through against City. Yeah. So absolutely, Longley, Romero, and Dyer for me. All day long.
Yeah. You're not going to drop Sanchez in the middle, are you? So,
Big Dav. I think Big Dav deserves.
He does deserve some respect, but you're not going to do that, are you? Like you said, if you need players,
I would play our best three centre backs. Those for me are our best three centre backs.
Yeah.
Lone watch. Scott, Becky, did you have something to?
No, I was just going to say, when are we going to talk about all the VAR decisions? But that's fine. We'll talk about Scarlett.
We will come to the VAR, don't you worry. Destiny, Udogie scored the first in a 4-0 win for Udinese against Roma. How far from the door is Jose? Is he anywhere near getting the sack?
No, I don't think so.
Not yet.
I've not been hearing the stories that we normally associate with Jose.
Which obviously triggered Fabrizio to drop out this tweet. So Tottenham did get him a bargain by the look of it because he's been fantastic, hasn't he, John?
Yeah, absolutely. He looks like a real find. I know that Paul Muir's been watching him a lot. Second goal he scored in the season already. It was really good. It was similar to Son's chance actually. He just the cross came in, and the fullback tried to head it or chest it back to the keeper, and Udogie just nipped in and slid in. It just flew past the keeper. Similar distance where Son hit the bar. But yeah, I think he's quite a strong lad. He looks fast. I think we've got a really exciting player there for the next season.
It's bonkers. I think he's 19 because he's huge and he looks so rapid. I saw that goal, and he just sort of seemed to appear out of absolutely nowhere. Yeah,
he's a powerful lad, isn't he?
3 bookings on the bounce as well, so he's got that side to him. Should fit in well with Romero.
Torrential rain's just hit me.
Torrential rain?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got an electrical storm here.
We had that last night.
Back in the house.
Really? I've just got back in the man cave. I don't want to have to leave again. Yeah. So there we go. Also on loan watch, Dane Scarlett made it 4 goals in 3 games with a brace for Portsmouth. I've got to say, what a header this was! I'm
brilliant.
You've all seen
this kid's 18.
If you're watching this at home and you haven't seen Dane Scarlett's goal for Pompey, number one, have you hit the like button yet? Please do smash a like. Hit the subscribe button while you're there, and then check Dane Scarlett's goal. His brace, I should say, for Pompey out. This header was exceptional.
Games in confidence, isn't it? That he's obviously what you say about players going out. He's getting games. He's getting playing well. They obviously believe in him. Starting to score goals, getting in good positions. They showed. I saw a ball earlier. He pinged Kane-esque from sort of like. So it's brilliant that he can get out there and get those games. It's better him there doing that than being sat on the bench for Spurs and literally not playing. So brilliant for him.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to see the goals, I did tweet them, and I think I retweeted them from the Cheese Room account as well. So they're both on there.
But so follow John at Cheese Room John. And it's there.
But yeah, Gibbo's right. There's a little highlights package I've seen as well, where some of his movement and some of his passing is really good, and the Portsmouth fans love him.
They love him. Yeah, I was going to say,
if you get Pompey fans behind you, you're set. I mean, they're a good set of fans. They'll back you all the way, and he's been brilliant. I still can't believe he's 18 from what I've seen.
I've seen people tweeting like, "Oh no, I'm going to fall in love with another loan player, and he's just going to leave us." Do you know what I mean? They're just like really behind him, which is good, isn't it? Because I don't think Parrott's having as much joy. I don't know. I'm not saying he's playing bad, but he's not having the joy as a forward. You want goals, don't you? And he doesn't seem to be getting that having as much joy at Preston.
Preston aren't at all having fun with goals.
No.
So their 8 championship games have involved just 2 goals, and they've conceded 1. So he's not really having many sniffs of any action.
5 0-0 draws.
I mean, that's painful, isn't it?
That's mad, isn't it, that happened?
But he has gone up a level, hasn't he? I mean, you've got to remember that as well. So, GLC, do you remember him? Scored in Villarreal's 4-0 win. There we go.
Good.
A good goal. I haven't seen
Good.
it.
I'm not surprised.
I'm hoping he has a good World Cup so we can shift him in Jan.
Plenty of money for him would be nice.
Has Ndombele started yet? Any games yet?
He came on as a sub for Napoli. You're getting ahead of me now.
Sorry.
There's no one at Lazio. The only thing of note he did was give the ball away. Joe Rodon scored his first ever career goal for Rennes. Would you believe, in a 3-1 win over Brest, and played the full 90 yesterday.
Because I saw a tweet from somebody earlier in the week saying that he was awful and it was all in French and they didn't want him and they can't believe they had him and it was a shocker and la la la.
To be fair,
That was
I thought it was a bit harsh.
That was his second game. Yeah,
he had a
played 2
stinker in
games
one
last
game.
week, yeah.
And then obviously not a lone performance, but we've all got there he is. We've all got a soft spot for Delhi, and he scored his first goal in open play since January 2020 in the Turkish league last night. So there you go. What can I say?
Winks didn't play for Sampdoria. I was watching it on BT yesterday.
No.
My husband came in. He was like, "What?" He went, "What on earth are we watching this for?" I went, "Just in case Winks come on." That's all.
No,
I don't think he was even on the bench. I
remember being there.
All right, let's look elsewhere at the weekend then. So you wanted to talk about VAR, Becky? Go for it.
I didn't really. It's just that by the time we got kind of back to the hotel and then watched the match of the day the next day on Sunday, I'd heard about West Ham. I remember someone saying, West Ham had a goal disallowed, and then the penalty at Forest, and there was hoo-ha at the Brentford game, wasn't there? And like I said, we won 4-1. 2 of ours were disallowed, weren't they? So, but yeah.
Ours were rightly disallowed by VAR. That's what you've got. Annoying as it is,
and they didn't influence the decision. There's always more fuss, isn't there, when it influences decision. So even yesterday, whether Ericsson was fouled or not for United's one when Arsenal scored and all of that, so it only ever becomes an issue. It was the Newcastle one as well, wasn't there, where he pushed him onto the goalie and fouled him and they disallowed the goal. But yeah, the Chelsea one is awful. Like West Ham are moaning about it, aren't they, after they scored after a foul throw against us.
I don't think VAR can get involved on a foul throw. I heard somewhere.
No, they can't.
I agree.
No.
But the goal was, the goalie wasn't injured, was he? And Moyes is right that he probably was faking it. VAR should have, when Shearer was saying about it, refs, if they've not played, they don't know. Bowden tries to get out of his way, and it's this whole idea that if you've played, you know how to move and what position your arms are in and all this sort of stuff. And
there was the Coutinho goal as well, wasn't there, at the weekend?
That's right, when he blew too
early.
You've
heard all about that, Gibbo.
Yeah, but the players had stopped, hadn't they, really? I know, I don't think they were offside, but the players had sort of stopped and the whistle had gone. That was a great strike. But it's like this McAllister goal. What a great strike. And, with goals again. But it's like with Mendy and probably Ericsson now, in these moves, players are just going to ground or doing whatever they can to hope it's going to get brought back. And they'll get, and the goal will get disallowed for something like that. Does my head in.
The one about McAllister, nobody appealed for an offside. You could see from the defending players, they were like, "Oh, fair dues, that's a really good goal." And that's the other thing as well, is if no one's even appealing anything on the pitch, just get on with it.
Yeah.
No goalkeeper in the world is stopping that ball. Doesn't matter where they are. It's irrelevant of anyone being offside. So they really need to take that into account, I think.
Yeah.
If a player is offside and they're in the keeper's eye line, are they interfering with play? Not when the ball's gone like that. So I think that's ridiculous. The Ericsson one, it's a soft foul. But really, the ref was quite close to it. If he can't tell that's a foul where he was, and it happens, 10 seconds later, the goal probably should have been given, in all honesty.
No. As Paul pointed out, Brighton's McAllister had a worldie ruled out for VAR. And Arsenal had a goal overturned for a really soft foul on Eriksen. Such a shame that, wasn't it?
Crying. We're all crying.
Tragic.
They've got to give the Premier League trophy back now, haven't they? After 5 games that they've won, they won the Premier League, didn't they?
They said it won August. Apparently, they've released a DVD about it.
But this is what VAR does. It destroys, the celebrating of a goal and.
But I'd say yes and no because, here's where I'm going to be a little bit contrary to this.
Go on.
Yeah. So Man City celebrated a goal that knocked us out of the Champions League, right?
Yeah.
Celebrated it, and then it was disallowed, and it gave us the opportunity to celebrate that decision. So it giveth and it taketh away.
And on Wednesday, West Ham, obviously, we had a penalty given for us, and we were well on top. And then it got overturned. That lifted West Ham. Yeah. We were under the cosh for 5-10 minutes after that. Yeah,
I think yes. In the match today, they said that the Tony one. I think I remember hearing them saying that it was took 6 minutes for them to decide. So we took the penalty 6 minutes after the decision was made. You're taking too long. HG tweeted, I think today, didn't he, that if you need 16 cameras and 47 replays,
clear and obvious.
You've just that the ref, is go. And there was the one ref who went to the video, didn't they? And he stuck with his original decision as well. Which I always say this to my Dave. I can only ever remember that happening to us against Leicester when he went to it and didn't change his decision. But the second time it's happened yesterday. But if the ref hasn't made a mistake, then just play on because it's making everything too slow. And the next minute they're moaning about how I think I heard a stat that there's only 50 minutes of play in most average Premier League games now. Well, that's partly because of the 5 subs. But if they're going to do VAR as well, then it's like just get on with it. And but like I said, I celebrated 4 goals, so we won 4-1.
You were so drunk you didn't care, did you?
But this is what I was going to say. VAR is going nowhere, so they need to get better at it. But in your opinions, if you could, would you have it or would you let it go?
I wouldn't scrap it, but it's been severely mismanaged. It needs to be managed properly.
How about that for a novel idea?
Why? The thing is, why does it have to be at Stockley Park? Because I compare this with cricket. So at cricket, they're in the clubhouse, and at the tennis, there's someone pressing the computer. Why does it have to be them sitting in this dark room somewhere else? Why can't they be at the game or be in a TV media part at the game? Do you know what I mean? I don't understand why it needs to be so complicated, because that's another point they're making, is that I think I saw an offside last week that wasn't that way. It was like that. And they were like, well, you can't judge an offside if the angle's not right. And then all this business. So and they did seem to Paul's right. I remember seeing it in the Euros and I remember seeing it in the Champions League. And it just seems to be that we just seem to overcomplicate it, I think. And that's what's going on, isn't it?
There's a few things.
Sorry, the World Cup in Russia, they did it before anywhere else and it was brilliant. We brought it over to the Premier League and we just made a right balls up of it. The standard of officiating in this country is awful. The referees are dreadful. And that's why it doesn't work very well, because they're crap, basically. And they just make bad decisions.
This is true. This would be a great idea. If you get a robot, a machine to,
they are, aren't they? Yeah.
That would help.
At the World Cup, they had 5 refs in the VAR room, didn't they? One of them was like the chief who made the overall decision, but they looked at it. I think the problem is we have 1 ref and we have an assistant ref in the VAR room.
And the problem is who they are.
Yeah. They shouldn't be current refs because
they think they're more important than everyone else.
I might be the VAR and I'll tell you, you're reffing, Gibbo. I think you need to go and look at that, or I think you're all right with that one. And then next week it's switched round. So you're backing each other up. It shouldn't be that. Mark Halsey, I heard him on the radio saying, when you appeal a sending off or something, there's a referee, there's an ex-player and an ex-manager in that room, and they make the decision. So maybe they need to get some players, and I think you have to be careful. The likes of Gary Mabbutt or Clark Carlisle, the more sensible ex-players,
not Robbie
sit in that room with a referee, look at the menu thing. Well, not Darren Bent, not something like that.
Fault.
But
Jamie O'Hara, get him in there.
Play guys that have played the game but understand, and they're not, and they're sensible to help put that input to the referee and say, he's dived that. Mendy's making that up. Or say Eriksen, that's a soft foul. No, just let it play on. It's his tough. He should have stood up.
I think we're overcomplicating it. They just need to get it right, don't they?
Yeah.
And there should be a time limit. I always say there should be a time limit because the referee has to make a decision in the time as the game is being played. So, we've heard all weekend about someone's being 6 minutes, someone's being 2 minutes. There should be, I always say this, when they're showing the flipping offside and it takes
you can't check it for 6 minutes, it's not clear and obvious.
No, but there should be a rule that it has to be, decision has to be made in 1 minute. Because if they made the decision in 1 minute, then they would have to just say, yeah, okay, we'll go with the rest decision because we haven't got enough time to see if it was right or wrong. Therefore, we'll leave it as the on-field decision.
One decent ref in that room looking at it. Onto the ref. He's had you there, mate. That's not a foul.
Like we said then, it's not. We wouldn't get rid of VAR.
Fingernails now, don't we?
Yeah, it's not VAR.
Fingernails,
It's the people operating it. So, like when John said, "Would you get rid of it?" And he said, "No." It's actually there are elements of it that it has improved. Like you said, both of the goals on Saturday were offside, and that's fine. But
again, it's a little bit about the interpretation of offside because we've seen offside. I mean, it's
millimetre,
and that's too much for me. There should be a wider parameter.
Yeah. And they always said they'd give it to
the
attacking side, and they don't seem to give it to the attacking side either. No, it's very rare that it's actually not a goal more than it is given a goal, if that makes sense.
I mean, handball's like the most. They change the rule on that nearly every season, don't they?
They changed it after Dyer balled it against Newcastle at our place, didn't they, the other year?
Yeah. But that would still be handball. That would still be handball because his hands up here, even though he was pushed in the back. They seem to ignore that bit.
Yeah, and he was facing the other way. But it does. It's just they need to sort the rules out in this country, sort the referees out who are doing it, and make it as simple as possible and get it done as quick as possible.
It doesn't seem as bad on the continent, or certainly not when you watch, European fixtures or international fixtures. Because, like you say, the World Cup, the Euros, no issue really, never an issue.
It's just done poorly, mate, in this country. The standard of officiating is horrendous.
Yeah,
I think it's part of the decision why Scotland didn't take it up as well because I think that it's like the Premier League waited a season, didn't they? Because they said they wanted to refine it, and then it's came in, and like you said, it's changed so much even since the time that it's come in, and rules have changed, and there's just my personal opinion is that they should make the decision in a minute, and like you said about whether it be in referees that aren't involved in the game anymore, and other than that, the actual kind of what it operates for is fine. But then equally, it's annoying when we have a goal conceded for a foul throw and things like that. So there's some things that they can't touch as well.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
How are some things out of parameter and out of scope that lead to a goal that shouldn't be a goal? That's not fair either, is it? It's bizarre. Yeah. It's like can't go back and check yellow cards. So. If you get two dodgy yellow cards, you're off. I mean, there's just so many inconsistencies in my head in it. I just think they need to learn from it and apply it properly. But I've got absolutely no faith that the people who are running, the lunatics are running the asylum, so to speak. So I've just got no faith whatsoever.
Yeah. And yesterday when they said that they were going to apologise to Newcastle and West Ham, well, that doesn't help, does it? I think when they said that they should have booked or sent off Romero for the Cucurella thing. We don't need to know that. Once it's gone, it's gone. Don't change that because that makes it feel even worse. But I remember
the trouble is, Becky, that if we don't hear that, the fans think nothing's been done. But what you need a follow-on then. Say what's being done. Okay, you've identified you made a mistake. What is happening now?
In future,
presumably they're talking to all the refs and they're looking at it, but we don't get that feedback. I think that's it's the same as our jobs, isn't it? If you do something wrong, you want to know what you've done wrong and how you can improve. And this is the problem. There's no accountability with the refs.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Accountability.
No. The thing that was interesting though is when we were at Middlesbrough away last week for the FA Cup, everyone was so pleased that there was no VAR. And then didn't Kane have wasn't Kane's goal a goal?
He was onside
or something. But I remember everyone going, "Oh, we haven't got to worry about VAR. Everything that will happen." I know we lost that game, but it was kind of like, "Oh, we haven't got to cope with any VAR."
I'd agree with that. Forward players should be nowhere near it.
Nah,
I don't think. I think that's.
I'm not saying have a Spurs player on a Spurs game.
No,
you could.
I still think it's nonsense. The average, why do you need? Why do you need? You don't need all these people.
The reason you look at it is because, as we're saying, refs have never played the game, so they don't necessarily know.
You don't need to play the game to form an opinion on what
clearly
whether
they need to have a proper opinion. They do, because the refs are getting it massively wrong.
I agree with you, John. But they should have been around if they're professional referees now. They obviously watch it on the telly. They've been involved in football for a long time. They should have a better grasp on football for the position they're in. Yeah. They should have a much better grasp of football. And we've been saying this for years. Ex-players should get referees, and they should become referees or be involved because they've played the game. Well, these guys have been involved in football for a long time now. They should have a better grasp on football and what happens, and what players who play act and the little dark arts that footballers do to get away with things. They should be skilled. They're professionals. They are professional referees. They should have a much better grasp on what's going on. They're just not up to it at the minute. The standard's poor.
The thing is, in cricket,
you just said it. Professional referees, they do it that is their job, their full-time job. They spend 40 hours a week being a referee. And as HG says here, you don't need to have played the game to know the rules.
None of us have played the game before. But if we were sat in that VAR room, you think to yourself, we've watched the game for a long time. We've got a slightly... We've got look. That's not a foul, or that's happened there. These referees should be the same. They've not just become a football referee out of nowhere. They've obviously
popped down the job centre.
Do you fancy being? Well, it feels like they've just popped down there. Do you fancy being a Premiership referee next week? Get yourself down to a West Ham Chelsea game at the weekend, and we'll put you in the VAR thing to start with. They should have a much better grasp of what goes on.
The screen thing annoys me as well, because they take, say, 2 to 4 minutes to have 14 replays of something, and then they go to the ref. Can you go over and have a look? And the ref could change his mind or could stick with his original decision. But why have the 4 or 5 minutes before that? Just look at it and then say, oh, you need to just go and check. Because that's the other thing. Because then he'll go over and watch 3 or 4 more replays of it. And in the ground, it's like, for God's sake, just get on with it.
There needs to be communication. I think we should be able to hear the refs, their conversation about what's actually happening.
Yeah,
because we're going to find out eventually. Yeah, rugby, it's brilliant. I mean, the refs literally stands on the pitch looking at the big screen in rugby, don't they? And they talk them through it. But in cricket, it's made the umpiring better. I think statistically proven that LBW decisions are more accurate now, because the umpires, LBW is a statement of fact. Is it going to hit the wicket in between a certain point? And there's other bits as well, but it's made the umpires more accurate ultimately. And it's not that they're being you've got it wrong and they're looking bad for it, but it's just made them more, it's improved it. So surely,
and when they said when they said they wouldn't bring in the audio was because there was too much swearing, I thought, well, then that's the swearing that needs to change, isn't it?
So don't swear then.
That's not a reason to not bring that side of it in. But that is a good thing about rugby, is they watch what we watch. So I can remember on Saturday, the snippets of memories I do have of bits of it is the groan. And when watching Match of the Day yesterday of all the other games, you can hear the crowd in the background groaning where the purple thing comes up and says, oh, it's just being checked for offside. It's like, oh, for God's sake. And that we were listening to the Brighton game in the car. It's this sort of, no one seems... Like, I know you said, caller, before, that one team celebrates the decision when it turns out their way and things, but it's just the whole kind of momentum of everything has just gone a bit rubbish. And it's not, there's things that it helps for when it is properly offside, but then they're the ones that, if it's that offside, should be able to see on the field of play anyway. That's what we did before.
I think it's just frustrating for everyone, isn't it? Everyone's got different opinions on it, how it can be done better and stuff like that. But it's not our job to do that. There's people who get paid good money to sort out these, and they've had a few years now. And we just have these periods where we just have crazy decisions.
And we'll have a weekend where there'll be none now. I'm always a bit of a kind of conspiracist as well, that there'll be none next week, because they'll almost be sort of said, no, just let things carry on. Things are, nothing contentious, because then it goes away for a while, and then you seem to have these weekends where there's loads and loads of them that come up as well.
But it's never going away now. It's never going away. So
it won't go away. And look, let's be fair. yeah, because there is a danger that a few wrong decisions mean that, we go, oh, it's crap and all the rest of it. But the reality is that it does get a lot of decisions right. Like our 2 goals, for example, how many decisions does it get right to how many it gets wrong? And I think that's what that's what you look at. It's just that they're high profile mistakes, and there's no reason for them to be high profile mistakes. So if you ask me, is VAR a good thing? I would say absolutely. But we've got a hell of a lot of work to do to get it to work properly.
It's always been everything slowed down never looks better, because I remember the Van Dijk challenge in the Everton game, and I'm thinking, oh hello, that when they slow that down, and then you see his ankle kind of go, and it never looks good. We'd said about Trippier that time. That remember he was sent off, wasn't he, recently? And then he wasn't sent off, and it was was it a high tackle and all that business. It never looks good slowed down, and that's where it's helped the refs, because obviously when things are fast and they may not see it, but it never looks good when it's like HG said, 14 cameras and all these different views. And
I'm pretty sure it all went wrong when Mike Dean retired from refereeing and then went into the VAR room this year, didn't he? So that's surely not going to
I think Gov makes a good point. Obviously, Howard Webb's coming over to take over from Mike Thingy. The guy's running the PGMOL at the moment. Who's
Kersley, is it?
No, Mike Riley is Mike Riley. Yeah, Mike Riley. Who frankly, I'm glad Mike Riley's going. Hopefully, Webb will sort this out. Apparently, he's done a great job in the US, from what Gov says. They just need to sort it out, because it's a shambles. This is the richest league in the world, and we're managing it probably worse than every other league in the world.
But I will say this, mate. I don't think I'd be a referee for all the tea in China. What an awful job being a referee or a linesman. So difficult. Players shouting at you and swear. I mean, I saw a player having a go at a ref the other day, and I thought, why haven't they booked him? I can't remember who. I reckon. I'll tell you who I think it was. I think it was Mitrovic, because I was watching it on the Saturday afternoon, and he was like pointing and having a go at the referee, and I thought, just stick a yellow card up his nose, and if he comes,
he did get booked. He's in my fantasy team because he's chalked off his points.
I don't for the life of me understand, like, the discipline in
zero,
football, isn't it?
Yeah,
really
just say we're not having this anymore.
That's what I just said then. So that's why I said put the audio on the players, because it would still get them to shut up, wouldn't it?
But referees just come in and say we're not having this anymore. You can talk to us, you can ask us, but if you start getting if I think you're going over the top, I'm yellow carding you. And if you yellow card him and he comes back with another barrage of abuse, there's another yellow, mate. Off you go. And if you do that, the refs will get so much stick off players in the crowd and in the media for a few weeks. But the minute you start doing that and you set a precedent, there will be changes.
Fernandez would only last about 5 minutes then, wouldn't he? With Fernandez, because he was in the ref's ear all game yesterday.
Did you see Declan Rice at the end? I can't remember what game it was. He chased the VAR. Yeah. He was on at him, telling him he was corrupt. It was a fix, not this season. I'm all about last season.
Yeah, the other season,
all over Twitter this season saying how shit VAR is and all the rest of it. But you just go, well, where's the consequence for that? Because how is that okay to, on a video that's going out to the world, call a referee corrupt? Yeah. It's slander, isn't it? Basically, just like without getting all too having a QC on it, there's got to be more discipline. There's got to be more discipline. I don't know why. You're right, Gibbo. I don't know why the refs don't show more cards for dissent. Verbal abuse, dissent.
Yeah, tell them that's what's happening. End of this season, say this is what we're doing. We're cracking down on it now. We're not having it. Do whatever they want. You go in before a game and you say, look, lads, I know tension's going to be running high. I know you're going to say things to me. But if I was a ref as well, I'd be saying, who are you talking? They got to man up and just be like, who are you talking to? I'm running this game, mate. If you don't like it, just shut up or you'll be booked. And if you carry on, you'll be off. But just literally bring it in and say, this is what we're doing. But don't, you've got to, obviously, there's got to be a level and everything. But if a referee feels like he's being abused, it's a yellow card. End of.
I agree. Totally agree.
I didn't notice it was a Gibbo's ranting night.
Yeah, sorry.
He let loose as a guest, doesn't he?
Yeah. Do you know what? It's the fourth official I feel sorry for. They have the managers in both ears all game, and they don't.
Having Clippity Klopp have a go at you.
Oh.
And do you see, is it Jesse Marsh was the Leeds guy? He was proper. You didn't need to be very good at lip reading to work out what he was saying when he got sent off. That was, I think, even my Jack had worked out what he'd said when he went. He was like, because it was the fourth official that told on him, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, look, I think there's a balance to be struck, isn't it? Obviously, we've got it. So the summary of that conversation is get VAR working properly. Officials need to be more strict with players. There you go. Jobs are good. So
yeah,
get us in there. Get us in there.
And basically, if we made Gibbo a Premier League referee, his dream job, it'd be great.
No chance.
Fixtures this week then. Game week 1.
Come on, we need Lamella. We need Lamella to take Haaland out on Wednesday, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I tell you what, he's probably open to it.
Yeah.
He'll probably try.
Chelsea will win at Zagreb. I reckon City 2-0 at Sevilla.
Well, they reckon. I saw something today that if City beat Sevilla, their manager could be out and Poch could be in there.
Oh, okay. Celtic, I will get battered, won't they? You'd imagine.
Hopefully.
Madrid. Ajax. Did Rangers beat Ajax last season? In the
no idea.
Or was it PSV they beat?
PSV, mate. They beat PSV.
Yeah. Liverpool. Oh, and Ndombele against Liverpool. That'd be interesting.
Come on, Tanguy. Come on, Tanguy.
We haven't done predictions, have we, for the Spurs game?
No, let's do that now. Let's go Becky first.
I think it might be 1-1. I think it'd be a bit cagey.
1-1, a bit cagey. Gibbo?
I was going to go for a Desmond, but I think I'm going to go 2-1 to Spurs.
John?
I mean, I've said it's going to be a hard, tough game. I just think it will, but I'm going to go 3-1 Spurs.
See, I had us down for a draw, but I don't know. I think we can do it. I've put 2-1 in our Patreon prediction league. If you're not already a patron, by the way, what are you doing with your life? There's so much to offer. There it is. Cheese Room merch, fancy football, exclusive content, prize and discounts, and the chat group. The prediction league is hotting up, as is the fancy football now. But it's not too late to get involved in the action. So go to patreon.com/cheese room and cheese room podcast, I should say, and all the details are there.
So who are these key players then? That
I'll go for 2-1. By the way, that was my prediction. 2-1.
Payet's out from the sounds of it.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Sure, Cantab can put in the comments who else is out.
Because there was talk that Payet just hadn't been playing, had he? Wasn't being picked, but
he played a couple of the games ago, but he was injured in the last game.
Wow.
Let's have a quick look, see if Flashscore's got anything. Gigo, Payet, Ruiz, and Sanchez got a red card, so he's suspended.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw that Flashscore replied to your tweet. Was it you, John, that tweeted them about what was it? That Friday show, wasn't it?
What's a dangerous attack? I didn't have a clue. Apparently, it means attacking in the last third, and was what? Even if it's Emerson Royale.
I saw they'd replied to you. I was like, that's so cool.
There we go.
Hey, what Emerson Royale Saturday, were they crosses or shots?
That one was a cross when he nearly did the goalie right at the beginning.
One with his right foot, one with his left foot. They were both crosses. You
could
tell
a cheeky shot
because he's.
Do you remember his Brighton goal? Do you remember when he scored that goal at Brighton in the FA Cup? My Jack still thinks that's the best goal he's ever seen in the North Lower. I was like, he didn't mean it.
It was deflected. If it wasn't given his own goal.
Yeah, he was aiming for the deflection. He knew it all.
Played it off his foot.
Played off his foot.
So there's going to be. You did a post-match show Wednesday after the Champions League.
Well, we hadn't decided what we were going to do because obviously the competition. We want to try and get as many people as we can on. So I don't think we're decided, but we'll put something out there, won't we?
We might do something Wednesday night.
Yeah,
sounds good. Yeah. Get the old live view on the go. watch along, and I'll join you at half time from the stadium. How cool's that?
Yeah, I don't think I'll get away with that one.
No,
not until the kids are in bed.
Oh yeah.
nah. I think possibly Wednesday after the game for half hour, 45 minutes. What do you reckon, John?
Yeah.
See what we can do.
Yeah, we can do that.
There we go. Pair of legends. You can tell they're all hosts tonight, so they've all got lots to say for themselves. But yeah, that is all good stuff. John, thanks for joining me this evening.
No, it's been great. I think literally it's only the second time I've been a guest all summer. I've either not
What a
been
great
on
guest
holiday
you've
or
been.
hosting.
There you go.
And you, Gibbs, though. Becky's still drunk, but yeah.
Hungover. Gibbo, that Wednesday night exclusive. Thanks for that. Who we got on Friday, John? Just out of interest.
Jack's back.
Jack's back.
Flat cap Jack. You and I can't remember. Oh, hopefully HG will be out of isolation, so he'll be back.
That's right, yeah.
And someone else.
And we're trying to get. I'm in talks with a Man City fan as we speak.
I mean, I've got to be honest. Anyone who's watched this show for a while will know that ended badly last time. Can we please just make sure it's not Andy from Manchester?
No, it definitely isn't going to be Andy.
Andy from Manchester.
That's the guy, Gibbo.
Yeah,
that's
no.
the guy. Becky,
Hopefully. Sorry. Hopefully it'll be better.
Thanks for having me. It was great talking Spurs. And then, I'll be watching Marseille from home on Wednesday.
Very good. Well, there's a rather brilliant podcast out reviewing the weekend's action, so check that out on all your podcasting platforms. I'm pretty sure Brendan's going to sort out one Wednesday night after the game if he's got his arse in gear. And there will be a pod on Wednesday night as well, so do look out for those. We'll be back post-match Wednesday night for the Marseille, and we'll be back with a Friday night show previewing the massive fixture. The two unbeaten teams remaining in the Premier League. Will one of those perfect records go? We'll preview all of that on Friday. I shouldn't say perfect, I should say undefeated. But until next time, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.